So, if you ask a dyed-in-the-wool Bigfoot believer to cite an example of where and why costume technology was deficient in 1967, of course they're going to produce the worst costume examples. But the aggregate picture looks like this. Patterson had a poor quality camera, and the resulting film that we have today, which is a copy of a copy, perhaps copy of copies, maybe not even a secondary copy, but a tertiary and maybe even more. And sometimes they'll throw in the word negatives. We don't have negatives. We do have enhanced versions of this film. So the best one is probably the stabilized version, where the motions of the Bigfoot in the film are stabilized. We can look at them and not get motion sickness. They don't jerk around. That's a pretty good enhancement, but there are other quality enhancements that should be suspect. You should question them. Why? Because we don't have the negatives, and when you're enhancing a film or an image, you're adding information that isn't in that picture, isn't in that frame. You're expressing yourself artistically. Maybe an example is there's a picture now with the close-up of the Patterson-Gimlin subject, and we see the glint in its eye and the creases in its lips and all that kind of stuff. Those are not in the original film, and those are not scientific renderings. Those are really brush-ups. They're pictures. They're paintings. They're artistic. This is what I would like Bigfoot to look like if I had it my way. So, when we have a modest or mediocre quality costume and combine it with distance in poor camera technology, poor film quality, and the camera, the camera working, the camera operation, which is, of course, Patterson fell off his horse and, he was struggling to get to his feet and point the camera at the creature, or at the supposed creature. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We have no way of knowing at this point. All we have is a poor quality film. Now, could it have been a man in a costume? I think it could have been. Could it have been a real Bigfoot? I think it could have been. We can't prove that it was a real Bigfoot. We can't prove that it was a man in a costume. Claims can be made, but of course, we don't really have anything to go on except speculation and people making claims decades after the fact. Now, Patterson had quite a while. He could have procured a costume and modified it. Maybe he made a costume. I don't know. But I do know that as I was staying up late a couple of weeks ago watching old Italian sword and sandal films on YouTube, and I ran across this gem. The American title is Hercules versus the Hydra, 1960. It stars Jayne Mansfield, the famous Hollywood actress. Apparently the Italians weren't afraid to put her heavenly endowments on full display. And toward the end of the film, Jayne Mansfield, playing a queen, is being attacked by a Bigfoot-looking creature, and this costume is just amazing. First, it's corny. Some of it's over the top. The facial Features with the snaggly tooth fangs, they're pretty outrageous, but you can see that there is the material there to make a believable Bigfoot face, and it's not too different from what we see in Patterson-Gimlin. The costume is not different. No. I think it shows that this could be used to make a Bigfoot, a fake Bigfoot. Sure, we don't see the supposed muscle definition. The legging, you can tell that it's a guy in a costume. The legs are straight, and the arms and the hands. Much of it, though, looks like it could have even been the same costume. Now, let's suppose, this is all speculation, I don't even think this really happened, but this is something that could have happened. Patterson could have gotten hold of this costume. It was probably long out of use. Maybe they used it one time in Italy in 1960. You have this costume, you enhance the face somewhat, you make it a little more believable, you put a football helmet in it, in the headpiece, you stuff newspaper or in the arms and water balloons in the breasts, and you do things to accentuate human morphism, and I think he could have pulled it off. Now, I don't think there's any reason to believe that this is the costume that Patterson used, but he could have made a costume, and this, I think, demonstrates that the costume technology certainly was available for Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin to create a hoax. I think it was there, so let's take a look.
I dei siano lodati. Ti prego, portami via da qui. Portami via.
Well, what do you think? I think this costume has all the elements an ambitious Bigfoot hoaxer wannabe could use in a costume. Let me know in the comments. Again, I don't know if Bigfoot exists or not. I think it might. And there are a lot of really good, maybe stories, accounts, anecdotes. Anecdotal evidence is not scientific evidence. However, some accounts are seemingly more plausible than others. And there does seem to be improved video footage of such creatures in the last couple of years. Better hoaxing technology for sure, but also better wildlife capture. It could be something there. This, however, demonstrates that the costume technology existed and was available well ahead of the Patterson-Gimlin film. Thank you for watching.
9 out of 10 cryptozoologists prefer Frame 352 for their Bigfoot-related discussions. Don't be that one guy. Hit like and subscribe.